Morning everyone, my name is Ryan Agazi and I'm the Teacher Development Manager for Macmillan Education International Curriculum. Today we have our literacy author and expert Charlotte Rance, who will be delivering a webinar focusing on practical tips for synthetic phonics. Just to let you know, if you do have any questions, feel free to write them in the questions box and we'll do our best to answer those throughout the webinar, or you can wait until the end of the session if you do have any questions at all. I will pass it over to Charlotte. If you do have any questions, as I said, let us know and we'll do our best to answer those questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see so many of you in here. Just to check that you can all hear me okay, if you can write in the question box where you are and what time it is with you, just to give us a picture of where we have our lovely audience today. So let's just pop those in. So a couple of people in India, 2 p.m. in India. Excellent. Malaysia, Russia. Wow, fantastic. Abu Dhabi, Jordan, UAE. Fantastic. Someone in Turks and Caicos. Wow, I bet 4:31 a.m. there. Amazing. Goodness me. Wow, this really is the whole world, isn't it? All right, fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us. It is 9:30 here in the UK. Little bit colder. No, so yes, someone's just pointed out that they cannot see me. That is correct. I'm not going to be turning on the camera because the internet has been a little bit unstable this morning. I guess with everybody in the UK working at home, our internet bandwidth has been consumed. Oh, someone from Rostov-on-Don. I have been to Rostov-on-Don. Hello, Olga. Lovely place. Okay, so yes, as I say, you won't be able to see me, but hopefully you can see my slides and hopefully we won't have any technical issues. If we do, I will get it reconnected as soon as possible. Ah, someone says it's very hot there. Excellent. Well done. All right, so we are here, as Raina said, to talk about some practical tips for synthetic phonics. Now, as we all know, phonics is taught from a very young age. Here in the UK, phonics is introduced in kindergarten as soon as children start to get curious about books and reading. So our learners are often quite young. Often they are maybe 4 years old, 5 years old. So let's have a think about those children. What are they like? What are they interested in? What do they need from us? Can you type in the question box any ideas that you have about this? How would you describe young learners? We might say that they are energetic. We might say that they are active. Absolutely, says Shivani. Inquisitive has come out a couple of times. Enthusiastic, absolutely, and interested and very, very, very curious. Ooh, someone's written raw. What a lovely way of describing them. Absolutely. We can help to cook them into anything we want to. I am not advocating cooking children. Eager, fantastic. And what do they need? Well, as Preet Kamal says, they need love and respect. Absolutely. And they need lots and lots of support. They are creative. They need our care. They need our guidance. And as Archie says, they have a very little concentration span. And we're going to come to that. So in today's session, we are going to be looking at a few things. Now, how can we get to understand our learners, and what can we do in terms of helping them, first of all, to learn the sounds and the letters of English, and then to take that and master their reading and writing moving forward. So, A little quiz for you. Can you guess my missing words? All right, understanding our young learners. So as we said, 4 or 5 years old, usually maybe 6, maybe 7, depending on where you are in the world, will depend on where phonics is introduced. So first of all, they have attention spans. What word might be missing from this? Yes, absolutely. They have short attention spans, indeed. Studies suggest that essentially your attention span is approximately related to your age as a child. So if you are 4 years old, you can concentrate on one task for about 4 minutes, plus or minus 2 minutes. If you're 7, you can focus for about 7 minutes to 9 minutes. So short attention spans. And of course, children learn best through, well, we're getting games, play, experiences, absolutely hands-on activities. They learn best through doing things, getting involved. And you will hear me say the word multisensory quite a lot in this session. So engaging their ears, their eyes, their hands, and getting them to experience things. Now, they are constantly, lots of people have gone with active, imitating. What a lovely answer, Jyotsna. That's lovely. Yes, they are constantly imitating. That's what they do. They are constantly learning. A child's brain is completely designed to absorb the things around them. From the moment that a child is born, they will be learning. And we all experienced it. We don't remember it, but we did. Everything around us is new. It's something to explore. And as children grow up and their awareness develops, they can access all of the things around them. Now, the other thing that we can say about kids is they learn best when they are having fun. I do too, and I'm sure it's true for lots of you. If you're enjoying what you are doing, then you are going to remember more of it. When you get bored, things fall out. I remember my physics lessons in school. I did not have a particularly engaging physics teacher, and I forgot all of it. But if you're having fun, you're going to remember. Now, our next sentence, Ayn has got this, absolutely. They forget things very quickly. So we mentioned the short attention spans. And the other thing that we have to remember about young learners is that we can teach something on Monday and by Tuesday it is gone. We all know that when we send our children away for the summer holidays, they all know everything they've learned this year, and by the time they come back for the start of the new year, they're going to have forgotten everything. So absolutely, they need lots and lots of reinforcement of things. And from their teachers and from their parents, and I believe we have a few parents in the audience today as well who are home teaching, they need our support. They need motivation, they need appreciation, and they need guidance from us as well. They need us to support their learning, to show them, to point them in the right direction, and to ensure that they understand what's happening with us. So these are our golden rules for this session. Now, things that we need to remember. How does this impact on our teaching, whether we're in the class or teaching online or working at home with our own children in this strange situation that we are in at the moment? Things that we need to remember: little and often, short sessions as much as possible, a little bit, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as often as we can, keeping our activities as fun and active as we possibly can. Whether we are in the classroom or in a digital classroom online, everything we do should involve as many of the children as possible. Get everybody involved and get everybody working together. And repeat, repeat, repeat. Remember, they're going to forget just as quickly as they learn. So moving forward, we need to get as much repetition in as possible. The same thing done in different ways. So in the classroom or in the online classroom as well, opportunities for pair work, opportunities for group work, opportunities for whole class activities. If you are teaching online, activities that the children can do with their parents so that everybody is engaged and everybody is focused. And throughout this session, we're going to be looking at how we can get these golden rules implemented. So let's get started. Now, as Rainer said, we did an introduction to synthetic phonics last month, and that session is, I believe, available on the YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch it and you'd like to hear it, you should be able to watch the video there. But just to recap on what was said, all of the things that we are talking about today refer to synthetic phonics, and synthetic phonics is the most commonly used phonics program in the world. The methodology of synthetic phonics is popular because it is logical, and it takes a logical progression from simple ideas through to more complex ideas. So when we're studying synthetic phonics, what are the children learning? What are we teaching them? Well, first of all, we're teaching them the phonemes of the English language, and by phonemes we mean sounds, the sounds of English. Does anybody know how many sounds there are in English? If you can write your answers into the question box. How many sounds in English? 44, says LaChère. Absolutely. 44 is the exact number. So we have 44 different sounds in English. And each one of those, in terms of phonics, is called a phoneme, an individual sound. So we teach them the phonemes. We also teach them the graphemes that represent those phonemes. And a grapheme is the way of writing the sound. So we have 44 sounds. We have over 120 different ways that we can write those sounds. So if we take an example of the sound k, 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 that could be written in two possible ways. We could have it as a letter K, the kicking K, as I was taught in school, or it could be a letter C, like the sound of cat. So the phoneme is K, and the grapheme might be K or C, and each of those is a grapheme. Now, as you can see here, it says in a systematic and cumulative order, and synthetic phonics teaches all of the graphemes that the children need. And it starts from simple representations. So our first grapheme is always S, and the letter S, the grapheme S that represents the sound S. And it moves all the way through. So in the new phonics program from Macmillan, Snappy Sounds, which I will be talking about a little bit, we have over 120 graphemes for the 44 sounds by the end of the program. In total, English, I believe, has over 200 graphemes, but some of them are only used in one situation. So in a synthetic phonics program, because it's for young learners, we are there to teach the basics, that basic 120 different graphemes that they need to be confident. The next thing that a child will learn in synthetic phonics is how to blend those phonemes together in the written word to read the word. So if we've got C-A-T, identifying the different sounds, k, a, t, and blending them together, going from k, a, t, k, at, cat, cat, cat. And blending is putting the sounds together to be able to say the whole word. And of course, to read it as well. The opposite of blending is segmenting, so breaking things down. So k-a-t makes cat, but cat is made of k, a, and t. And breaking a word down into its different sounds is called segmenting. So if we take my name, Charlotte, if I was segmenting it, I'd start with sh, r, l, t, Charlotte. 5 sounds in my name. 9 letters, 5 sounds. Okay, now the other thing that children need to know is that a phoneme, one sound, might have lots of different ways that it can be written down. So one sound might have many, many different graphemes that go with it. So we talked a little bit about the phoneme s, and s can be represented in 2 ways. Both of these are single letters. We have s like song and s like circle. So 2 graphemes, either an S or a C. However, graphemes can be multiple letters. So if we take the phoneme I, the I sound could be represented by the letter I on its own, like the word I. It could be represented by 2 letters together, so IE, like pie. It could be represented by 3 letters, IGH, like the word sight or fight. And that IGH is a 3-letter grapheme, but it's all the same sound. It's all that I sound. And of course, as we've already said, the same grapheme, so the same letter, can make a different sound and have an alternative pronunciation. So let's take the grapheme CH. If we have the word church, for example, it's a ch sound. Ch, ch, ch. But CH in my name doesn't make a ch sound. I'm not Charlotte, I'm Charlotte. So one grapheme can have 2 or 3 different pronunciations. Absolutely. All right. So that's what we're teaching in synthetic phonics. But let's have a think about how we might do that. So the first thing that we need to do is think about those individual sounds and letters that we are teaching, those individual graphemes and phonemes. Now, one of the keys to learning individual sounds and individual letters is noticing those sounds around us. And when a child is learning to speak in their mother tongue, the first step for learning language and learning productive language is noticing every time. So as a baby, we sit there and we listen to our parents and we start to mimic the sounds around us. Every language, we see different sounds from different babies, and those are the sounds that are most common. And at a very early age, children are able to identify the sounds of their own language. And in an international context, noticing in English is incredibly important, because when we have students from many different nationalities, students with different mother tongues, sometimes the sounds are unique and different in languages. There are sounds in English that do not exist in other languages. So when we start teaching phonics, the first step is to encourage noticing. And there are lots of different ways that we can do that. You might have a game of show and tell. So if you're teaching online, you might say, okay, children, I want you to go into your house and I want you to bring back something that contains the sound t, t, t. So they might run off, they might find their toy tiger, they might find a toy, they might show you the table. And the idea for show and tell would be that the child then goes and finds something that they can talk to you about, that they can show you. We can do this in the classroom, we can do this out of the classroom. So go and find me as many things as you can that have the T sound at the beginning. Give them some time, let them go off, find these items, bring them back and talk to you about it. So this is my teddy, I hug him at night. This is my table where I do my homework, etc. Noticing that first sound of the word. Another way that we can do this is through exaggeration. So here we've got stutter, stutter. And if you are wanting children to notice specific sounds, we can use stuttering in our voice to highlight that. So let's say we are working on the k sound. Can you find me a cup? Highlighting that sound, highlighting each of those individual sounds through stuttering. Another activity that we can use, and something that works really, really well with children, is to give them ownership. So in every lesson, you might want to give the gift of a sound or give the gift of a grapheme. So our lovely friend Raina, who is working backstage to ensure that all of you can do that, I might give her, if I'm her teacher, the R grapheme, R for Raina. And when we learn new words and when we meet new words, it would be Raina's responsibility to show us that this is one of her words, this is my word, it starts with the R sound. You might use their names, it might be completely arbitrary. You might want to just give sounds out at random, but if you can find a way to personalize them, then that works. Now, another thing that we can do in the classroom is using alliteration. Do we all know what alliteration is? Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds. So when we make a sentence and we have repeated sounds used a lot in poetry, so make me money is an alliterative sentence, repeated. And in the classroom, when we're working on specific graphemes or specific phonemes, then we're going to try and get the children to repeat that. So you might want to make example sentences that repeat the highlighted sound. If we go back to T, then Tina takes time to talk is an example sentence. And we can use these, you can make up your own. You can encourage the children to make up sentences. They don't have to be sensible, they can be crazy. Timmy talks to tarantulas is another example. And the pink pig plays in the park, says Indu. Fantastic example there. Excellent. So using alliteration to repeat those sounds and to encourage that noticing. Of course, we want things to be fun, we want things to be active. And two of the best ways to encourage children to notice different sounds and different graphemes is through games and chants. So let's have a look at an example of a game that you can play with the children. And what you're going to see here is a xylophone. Now, this is an example of a xylophone, and you'll notice every one of the different keys has a different grapheme on it. Now, we mentioned that a synthetic phonics program is taken from simple through to complicated. They build on their ideas, and what you can see here are the first 8 sounds, the first 8 graphemes that are represented in any synthetic phonics program. So whether you are using snappy sounds, or if you're using the UK national curriculum, maybe the government letters and sounds, or if you're following something like Jolly Phonics or Floppy Phonics from the other publishers, every single synthetic phonics program takes the graphemes in the same order. And these are the first 8. Why are they the first 8? They are all individual letters and they all have very limited representations, aside from the 2 vowels, but we'll come through to those in a minute. So this is a little xylophone game, and what we can do is we can either work this as a segmenting activity, so breaking the word down, or we can use it as a blending activity, building words up. So as a teacher, if I want to practice my segmenting, I might say to the children, okay, how do we make step? Step. So I would say step as the teacher, as the parent, and the child would take their little hammers and they would mark out the word step. So they would go from step, step, step. You don't need to have a real xylophone to do this. You can do it just as easily with, pens as drumsticks and stickers on the table. And as a teacher, then I can give them the model. So can you break down pat? Can you sound out pat? And the child would go pat, 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 pat. And that's the segmenting side of things. Of course, segmenting and blending are essentially the opposite of each other. So what we can also encourage is experimentation. I might give this keyboard to my children and say to them, okay, let's play around. What words can we make? So they might start with sat, sat, sap, sap, sad, sad. They might have nap or stop or step or stem or met or mat. And we can encourage them to build their own words. So as you are doing right now, mend, den, lots of different things that they can experiment with and try. And as we say, we don't need a real xylophone, but if you have one, it's nice. And this is a very multi-sensory activity. So we're working with the audio, with the sounds, but we've also got the physicality of taking the hammers in hand and striking the keys. So it's a bit kinesthetic. Bright colours make it quite visual. And Vanita suggests absolutely we can show a picture to the kids to make the words. Indeed. So if you've got pictures that can go with these, then they can try and build those words up as well. Excellent. All right. Now, another thing that is very, very commonly used in phonics is chants. And chants are a wonderful way to learn language and to practice sounds, pronunciation, speaking, etc. You can make a chant of basically anything. So what you can see on screen at the moment is a chant frame, and the numbers in the top line represent the number of syllables in the word. So this would be your chant pattern. Here we've got 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. This rhythm can be used to take in anything. So in my example, I'm practicing something quite complicated for many learners, which is the SW blend. It's very common in English. We use it a lot. Sweet, sweep, swing, etc. So, together. And here, as you can see, I've mirrored the number of syllables. So very basic practice. Swim, swim, swimming. Swing, swing, swinging. Swim, swing, swim, swing. Swim, swim, swimming. And that's 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. You might want to add in your own words. Absolutely. So you can change that up. you can also bring this into sentence formats. So again, just following the pattern, if you've got a one-syllable word, I like, you can change that up and add that into the sentence. So I like swimming, I like swinging, I like, swim, swim, swinging, however you want to do it. But keeping that pattern and that rhythm. Now, making it multi-sensory, you can add in the beats, so you can get the kids banging on the table, clapping their hands, clicking their fingers. You can also encourage them to add in movement and actions. And you can get those made up in your classroom, or you can make them up yourselves at home, get the children nice and engaged, and add in that extra level of involvement. You can also work with the sound. So add in changing the speed of your voice, so you can do it slowly. Swim, swim, swimming, swing, swing, swinging. Or you can speed it up. You can change your volume. Can you do it quietly? Can you do it in a loud voice? You can change your pitch. You can make it high, you can make it low. And doing it in all of these different ways enables you to keep that variety and keep their attention and keep that focus. And it just adds in a little bit of fun. All right, so there's lots and lots of things that you can do with your chants, and there are other frames that you can find on the internet. You can make up your own as well. So another key step in learning individual sounds and letters is the modelling. And within phonics, the pronunciation of the graphemes is incredibly important. So modelling is very, very key. Have a look at the picture on the screen. What letter is this woman saying? What sound is she making? What letter do we think this is? V or f, absolutely. It could be either. What's the difference between v and f? And that is just our voice. So in this case, what we are looking at is f. And our f sound adds in all of that there. So as you can see on the bottom, there is a description, and as a teacher you might want to use descriptions. Now this picture is taken from a video in Snappy Sounds, and in the teacher's resources there are modelling videos for different phonemes that you will hear. So this one is f as in fun, and the description that goes with it says this is a consonant sound. It is a long, quiet sound. Place your top teeth on your bottom lip to say it. Do not use your voice. So if you put your hand right now on your throat and make the sound, and then make the v sound, you should be able to feel the difference in the vibrations of your voice. So as teachers, we talk about voiced and unvoiced sounds. When you're working with children, you might want to use the words loud and quiet sounds. So f is a quiet sound, as we can see here. It's a long, quiet sound. Excuse me, just going to have some water. So this modelling can be done in the classroom, and the things that we need to highlight: the shape of your lips. What shape is your mouth making? Where is your tongue? Is it near your teeth? Is it between your lips? Is it back? Is it on the roof of your mouth? Is the sound voiced or unvoiced? Do we feel a vibration? Is it a loud or a quiet sound? Is it a long sound or a short sound? And we can give all of this information to help the children get those sounds correct. Now, for all of us, the most important thing to remember is that when we are teaching different phonemes, it is the smallest unit of sound. So when we teach s, it's not s, that's two sounds. It's s, it's not p, it's p, p, p. Make that sound as pure as you can, okay? And teach those, each one utterly uniquely. Now, of course, once we have introduced the individual sounds, for example, here we have p, I, n, p, I, n, we have to start blending them together, encouraging reading, getting that all nice and fluent in the speech. So we don't say p, I, n, we say pin. And one thing that we can do is to show this visually and track the pronunciation as we do it. So as a teacher, when we're reading and when we're encouraging the children, we can ask them to track the letters as they say them. And by tracking, we mean running our finger underneath. So we can start by showing this visually, spacing those letters apart, taking them as their individual sounds. P, I, n. And we can start then to slowly move them together. So, p, I, n, p, I, n. And as we move them closer together, we speed up what we are saying. So, p, I, n, p, I, n, p, I, n, p, I, n, p, in, pin, pin, pin. And moving that, making it quicker and quicker, closer and closer, until the word is in its purest form, and continually tracking our finger underneath that wording as well. Now, we can also show this visually by using dots. Something that's commonly used in phonics to indicate how long or short the sound is are dots and lines. So we can see here, p, I, n, these are all short sounds, dot, 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 p, I, n. However, if we add the magic E, if we take a different grapheme, so I with magic E, that I sound becomes longer, it gets stretched out. So here we can show this visually with a line. So p is a short sound, the I in pine is a long sound because of our magic E, and the N again is short. And we can show that visually. Vinita has come up with an excellent idea of putting the letters of the word on an elastic and stretching and unstretching that to show that visually, showing the distance between the sounds. Absolutely. So that's thank you, Nathan. Yes, he says, highlighting my magic E there. Now he knows where I went to school. How are you, old friend? Good to see you. All right. And yeah, so pin and pine. Now, what we've got here is a little visual representation of a sheep. How many letters in the word sheep? Let's see if you all know how many letters are in the word sheep. Good, 5, we can all count. How many sounds in the word sheep? Break that down into its individual sounds. We've got 3, absolutely. We've got sh, e, p, sheep. So that's 3 sounds, 5 letters, but 3 graphemes. So what we can see here, you'll notice that we've got a picture of a sheep and we've got 3 boxes underneath it, 2 bigger ones and 1 small one. When we are decoding, if I say to my children, okay, can you write the graphemes of sheep underneath the picture? In the first box, we should have SH. In the second box, we should have the double E, the long E sound. And in the final box, the small box, is a single grapheme, and that is P, sheep. So this is an activity that can encourage students to decode that word, break that word down into its 3 different graphemes there. Of course, lots of other ways that we can do this, and young learners, as we said, they love to be active, they love to work with their hands, so there's lots of other ways that we can do that. 3 examples up here. The first one is alphabet cookie cutters. You can get these pretty much anywhere, and they are great for pressing into modeling clay. So if the children have clay in front of them, they can take the letters and they can build those words by pressing into it. So again, we'd say sheep, and they can build that up manually with their hands. Lots and lots of tactile work. In the top right picture, you can see that there is some letters drawn. Here we are working with the phoneme K and the grapheme C, and using the modeling clay to make those letters and build them up. And the final one of my favorites, super cheap, super easy household activity. Put some shaving foam, spray some shaving foam onto a tray, and you've got a writing pad, so the kids can use their fingers to mark out the letters and write them down. And yeah, get them to move that around. If you do it on a tray, you can also use sand to do this. Anything that is manipulative that the kids can write in with their fingers. It's great practice for their motor skills as well. And you can easily, spell things out and erase them again just by rubbing the shaving foam over the top. Nice and fun thing to do there. So all of these activities are great for starting to blend words together, to start encoding or writing and decoding or reading words. And the important thing to remember is that encoding and decoding, reading and writing, they are just 2 sides of the same coin. They are a reflection of each other. So any activity that you use for encoding or writing, you can change that activity, flip it over, and basically do the same thing to decode. So as we said with the xylophone, you can either start with the word and encode it into it. So I might start by saying tap, and the children take those individual sounds and build them up. Or they can do it the opposite way and just start experimenting. But they're always a reflection of each other. So whichever way you're looking at it, you will find that doing it in the opposite way will have the same effect. Now, once they've started to become more confident and they've got more and more different graphemes under their belts, we can start doing other types of activities. So this one is an example of a sound swap. So I, as the teacher, I, as the parent, start with individual letter flashcards. Here I've got 3 words. So in phonics, we talk about CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant words, the most simple words to start learning to read with, k, a, t. And what I would say to my children is, okay, I want you to change one sound to make a new word. So maybe my child says, okay, k, a, t, t. I'm going to change the k. And I'm going to change k to h and make a new sound, a new word. So k, a, t becomes h, a, t, hat. They could have changed the last letter and changed cap to cap. But in my example, k becomes h. They say, brilliant, okay, can we change a different sound? And this time, they might change the sound in the center. So h, a, t becomes h, o, t, hot. And this can be used at any stage in the phonics process. So basically just working with the sounds that you have covered in the classroom, individual sounds, building up different words together and encouraging the children to experiment and to play and to get lots of different ideas. So as they develop, they can start adding in new sounds and adding in different graphemes. So if you have covered the different sounds, we might add an E to the end to make up that magic E and build that up, and you can make that as simple or as complex as possible. Again, it's quite tactile. We would use flashcards to do this, and you can either print them off the internet, or you can design and draw your own, and you can get the kids to make their own as well. Now, the other thing that we need to address when it comes to mastering reading and writing are the sight words. If you were in the previous session, we talked a little bit about sight words there, but just to recap, sight words in phonics are the words that are not easy to decode through phonics because of many different reasons. In the first year of phonics, quite often they are decodable, but they will be high frequency words that the children have not learnt all of the graphemes of yet. So, for example, in our poster here, we can see the first one is the word A. That article A, they will have seen the letter before as a grapheme, but they will understand that to be A. So we need to teach them at the very beginning that the grapheme A can also be a word, and that word is A. If we've got, for example, put, the P sound and the T sound are taught in week 1 of synthetic phonics, but the sound doesn't come until later. But of course, put is an important word. So we would teach that as a sight word. And these are words that the children learn as words. They learn the meaning and they learn how to say it all at the same time. Now, again, when we're practicing high frequency words, sight words, there are lots of things we can do. Flashcard games are a fantastic way of practicing different sight words. So, you know, you can pile all of your sight words up in a pile and say, okay, run to the chair and find the Mr. card, or run to the chair and find friend. And they will do this visually to recognize the words. You'll also find in many, many classrooms word walls. So as I said, this is a poster. This is one of the Snappy Sounds posters, and it's designed to go on the wall of your classroom. And it's a visual reference. So when you are taking those lessons and we're remembering those high frequency words, as a teacher, you'd be pointing to it. Can we remember this one? And again, of course, we talked about chants earlier, and we can do lots and lots of different things with chants as well. So making up chants using the different high frequency words and adding them into our sentences. Of course, we said that high frequency words may or may not be decodable, but usually they will be partly decodable. So let's say we're teaching the number 2, that T for all students, as we said, the T sound is taught in week 1. We can ask them, okay, you know the first sound of this word. Can you tell me what that is? And we can trace it with our fingers and say, t, t, t. Fantastic. The second part of the word that they don't know, which is that W-O together makes an oo sound sometimes in English. This is not decodable. If we are decoding, that would say two or twa. That's not how we pronounce it, is it? So we work on the decodable bit, and then we add in the information that is missing. So we'll say, right, okay, so T-H-E-Y together, T and H, what is that as a grapheme? They. And we can teach them that E-Y together is an A. Okay, so decoding what they can. And then, of course, the best practice for understanding our high frequency words is to meet them. So using them in sentences, having sample sentences around the classroom, getting them to read those example sentences, having the words on individual cards, making up sentences and practicing reading them as much as we can. Okay, so while we have been doing this, we have been getting lots and lots of questions in the chat box. We've got a little bit of time now for you to hand over and give me any questions that you have. So if you do have any questions about what we've been doing, please feel free to check them into the question box now. A lot of you have asked whether you'll be able to get the slides. They will be sent out to you as a PDF afterwards. So yeah, when you get your certificate at the end of the session, you will also get a PDF of all of the slides, so you'll be able to remember the content. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to write them into the chat box now. Someone who missed the beginning. Can I know the host's name? Yes, I'm Charlotte. Nice to meet you, Charlotte Rance. Any other questions in the chat box? Let's have a look. Okay. Oops, so question there, what age should we start teaching phonics? It will depend, but when the children start to be curious about letters and writing, that's the perfect time to start teaching phonics. So here in the UK, then we generally start them in kindergarten, but some children will start reading phonics at home before that. So if they have any interest in doing it at home, if you see them start picking up books, you can start to work with phonics there. Any particular game for teaching sight words, as it's difficult to register? Okay, so one of the things that you can do with sight words, especially the sight words that have meaning, is playing Pelmanism games. So having, let's say, a picture of the item. So let's take the word person, picture of a person, and on a different card, the word person, and getting them to flip over and find the matching pairs, games like that. Any sort of flashcard game that you would typically play, you can use with the words on the card. So hiding the flashcards around the room and getting the children to run and find the correct word, or sticking them up on the walls and getting them to stand next to the word that you said. Anything that you would typically do with a flashcard, you can do with sight words. Someone has asked, can we teach them to 10th graders too? You can use the principles of phonics to learn at any age. So yeah, you absolutely could. What I would say is that your 10th graders might find typical phonics content a bit immature. So what I would say is, if you want to work on phonics with the 10th graders, it's totally possible. Take the ideas, take the activities. You'd have to change them a bit to make them more age appropriate. But yeah, there's no reason why I can't use. Is it possible for children to learn all words using phonics? That is a big question there. Thank you for that, Padmaja. Not all words in English are decodable, because not all words in English are English words. We have many words in English that come from other languages, which means that many of the rules don't apply. So, are all words decodable? No. Can children learn all words using phonics? No. So why do we do it? Why is it so importantly used? Because it is able to teach them how to say most words. And the sub-question was, don't they get confused? And what I would say to that is, if they are using a synthetic phonics program, no, because it is a step-by-step process and they build up. So every time they learn something new, they are adding that to everything they already know, and they are constantly revisiting and revising an idea. So if you're following a synthetic phonics program, they're going to build on that step by step, and it will give them the foundation that they need. So all words, no. Most words, yes. Some children couldn't get the R sound properly. Any suggestions? So Ramya, I was one of those children as well. When I was a child, I could not say the R sound. And what I will say to you is what my mother did. So my mother used to give me tongue twisters to say, and so one of the ones that I would use was round the ragged rock, the ragged rascal ran. And when I was a child, I could not say R at all, but my mother used to make me do all sorts of different tongue twisters with R sounds in them. And also the other thing that we can do, we talk about stuttering and the exaggeration. So if you can, to highlight that R sound, if you can do it, then roll your R's a little bit. So get them to say R and get that movement going, rabbit, and also model that positioning in your mouth. Is it difficult to retrain adults to learn phonics correctly? Victoria, as we all know, if you have learnt something incorrect, it is very difficult to change those. But is it impossible? No. All right, one more question. Let me see. I think we've got time for another one. One more question to find. Okay, so should blending be taught to 3-year-olds? Yes, you can. Blending should be taught as soon as you have enough sounds to do it. So in a synthetic phonics program, you would learn st, a as your first 3 words, and then you will start to blend immediately and start making those. So blending happens as soon as you can, and move that along step by step. But yeah, as soon as they start learning the individual sounds, they should start to practice combining them, please. Okay, so we are out of time. I am going to hand you back over to Rainer, who's going to give you a little bit of information about the follow-up. But thank you so much for attending the session. It was lovely to see so many of you in our audience. Rainer, over to you.
Thank you so much, Charlotte, for a really engaging and active webinar. I could tell from a lot of the attendees that they were really enjoying the content and the games and some of the things that you were focusing on. So thank you so much to Charlotte. We've got some really, really great numbers for our attendees as well. Please stay safe at home as well. Just a few little bits of information. If you would like to access the recording of this webinar, it will be available hopefully by tomorrow on our YouTube page. Information is there. The PowerPoint, as Charlotte mentioned, will be sent via email within a week, in addition to your CPD certificates as well. So do look out for those. We have introduced a home learning content page on our website. So please do refer to this if you are looking for extra worksheets and content as well, just in case you're sort of thinking what you can do with your children and students at home. Also, do follow us on social media. And if you do have any additional questions, do email us with the email address that's on the slide here. So just to say once again, thank you so much to Charlotte for a really, really active webinar. Thank you so much to all the teachers and parents who were able to join as well, and hopefully we'll look forward to seeing you soon. So thank you so much again. Take care and stay safe. Bye.